What's up everyone, this is Wasim from the Tech Boys and I have a full review of the brand new Apple iPhone 5. So I've had the iPhone since its release date. I have a pretty good idea of what features it offers and really how it is as a smartphone. So first we're going to start off with the design. So on the front you're going to see a all new 4-inch Retina display. It's the same width but it is taller. On the front, you do have a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera that can shoot in 720p HD video, and the front-facing camera has been centered, so it's not off to to the left like it was on the 4. We still have the home button here. If we take a look on the back of the iPhone, it comes in white and black. This is the black. It's a full unibody aluminum back piece, and it'll be black on the top and bottom. And if you get the white, it's a silver aluminum back with the white on the top and bottom. The 8 megapixel camera with the flash. And if you do look closely, there is also a third microphone now on the iPhone 5. So let me let it focus in. There we go. So there is the back. I mean, it's a beautiful design. This is one of the best looking phones I've ever seen. It's extremely thin. It's 7.6 millimeters thin, so a lot thinner than what the iPhone 4S was, and it's also very light. So when I first picked up the iPhone 5, I couldn't believe how light the phone is. I thought it felt flimsy when I first picked it up just because I wasn't used to how light it was, but now it's purely amazing. It feels solid, well made, and it's just a beautiful phone. So there is a volume up and down on the left side with the mute switch. And on the bottom we have the new lightning cable for charging and syncing, and the headphone jack has been moved to the bottom. In my opinion, I do love it at the bottom. If you've used an iPhone before, when it was at the top, the wire would sometimes fly over the screen. But when it's at the bottom, it's not in my way. And when I slip it in my pocket, I always put my iPhone down first, so the headphone jack comes out of my pocket. Overall, amazing design, nice and thin, all new aluminum back piece, and just looks very nice. Now, as inside the phone, you're gonna get a dual core A6 chip clocked in around 1 gigahertz. There is 1 gig of RAM inside the iPhone 5, so overall, it's a nice improvement. It's a very fast phone. I really haven't had any lag using the device, and the A6 clocks in very competitively against the Galaxy S3 and some other devices too. So it's iOS 6, so I do get the critics against iOS because it's very boring. Because it is, all you have is your pages of application. There's really no widget support, which this is what Android has over the iPhone. If you do love iOS and you're fine with it, then the iPhone's going to be a really good choice for you. So everything works well. You pull down your notification tray. You also have the new widget for iOS is the share widget. So you also have Twitter and Facebook integration. So if I tap on Facebook, you can write a status, check in somewhere. If I go to Twitter, you make a tweet. So pretty simple. So iOS it works really well on the iPhone 5. With the screen size, it does add the extra row. Again, it's not a huge deal, but I just wanted to mention that. And if you compare applications from the iPhone 4S to the iPhone 5, Apple has integrated the new screen with some of the applications. So if we jump into weather, you can see that it does show the 5-day forecast from side to side. Before, you would have to tap on the screen to pull it down, but now it's right there for you to see. And that's the same with a lot of Apple's application. Everything has been updated to take advantage of the iPhone 5's new 4-inch Retina display. Alright, now I want to talk about the keyboard. I've had a few issues with the keyboard. I feel like that the keyboard is not as responsive as it used to be on my iPhone 4S. That could just be a small glitch that Apple can fix, but I'll go ahead and test and see if it happens on camera. So let me zoom in a little bit. So it seems to be working okay right now, but sometimes I feel like the keyboard doesn't keep up with the speed I'm typing at. But that can be easily fixed with a future update. I just wanted to mention that to you. And let's go back home. Other features in iOS 6 is Passbook. Again, this is really a sitting duck right now because I wasn't able to use it. But if you do jump into the App Store, you can integrate a few apps right now, like your Fandango movie tickets, American Airlines, I guess sport tickets, Target, Sephora, Walgreens, United Airlines. So as soon as other companies start building more things for Passbook, like their coupons and gift cards, this will be a huge feature. Now let's jump into the web browser on the iPhone 5. So here we have the web Safari. It's very similar to what we were used to. If we go to the share option, you can see the menu is a little bit different with iOS 6. We can message it, we can tweet it, we can share it on Facebook, and we can add it to our home screen and reading list. And then when we go into landscape mode, we have the option for full screen. If we don't want that, we can easily take that out or enable full screen again. The web browser is extremely fast. Let me jump to a website. Let's go to Phone Arena because that is a really big site, and let's see how fast it loads up. And I'll be loading it over AT&T's 4G LTE network. Let's go ahead and let the iPhone load up. But web pages load really fast on the iPhone 5. The A6 chip definitely can handle a lot of power. And over 4G or Wi-Fi, it's extremely fast. And especially with websites like Phone Arena, where it has a lot of pictures and articles, it can take some time on some slower phones or slower networks. But here we have the web page open. Pinch to zoom still, I think pinch to zoom on iPhones can never be matched. It's very fast. I've had no lag using it, and the bigger screen does give you a better browsing experience. That's something I've always missed when I was using like a Galaxy S3 or a Galaxy Note, is because they have a larger screen. But with the iPhone 5, it is a little bit bigger, so it does make it a much more enjoyable experience. So very nice. Double tap to zoom in works well. If I want to jump into another article, it loads up very fast. Alright, now I want to show you some applications that haven't been optimized for the iPhone 5's 4-inch display. Let's go into, first let me show you a 4-inch app that is enabled. We'll go find my iPhone. So this is Apple's app that they have updated. It takes full advantage of the 4-inch screen. But let's say I go into Engadget. You can see that there is a little bit of space at the top where it should be, but that's just going to take some time for all of the apps, or at least most of the popular apps, to update. Apps like Facebook and Twitter have updated their apps, but if I go into like Google's YouTube app that they make for the iPhone, it has not been updated for the 4-inch display. So that is something to keep in mind. I'm sure in a few months that most popular apps will be updated for the iPhone 5's 4-inch display. So like I said before, the iPhone 5 is rocking 4G LTE, supported by AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. So 4G LTE, I've tested it on Verizon phones before and AT&T phones, so extremely fast. Let me pull up speedtest.net and we can do a quick speed test. So if you're in the major cities with AT&T, you're going to get LTE. In some rural places, you want to look at Verizon's network because it is more expanded than AT&T. With AT&T, you will drop down to HSPA+, which is still pretty fast. Especially I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area. LTE has especially been going down in speed. I used to be able to get 20 megabits per second in my area, but now it's dropping to about 14 to 15. But overall, it's still much faster than 3G or regular HSPA+. And let me show you some results that I've gotten. So these are actually HSPA+ speed tests. I've gotten 9 megabits per second, 10. The LTE, they go from 17, they can be at 9. So it does vary depending on your location. But LTE is generally very fast. Alright, now let's pull up the camera application. So the camera design has changed slightly. You can see a bigger shutter key. And the iPhone 5's camera is slightly improved. A new feature you will find is the panorama, which works really well. The camera is nice. It takes really clear pictures. As for the quality of the pictures, it's not a huge jump from the 4S, but it does do a lot better in low light conditions, and the shutter speed is a lot faster. Alright, now I want to talk about battery life. Battery life on LT is suggested at 8 hours of talk time, which is on par with what the iPhone 4S was getting on 3G. So Apple has done really well with keeping battery life good on the iPhone 5. If you're using it moderate to fairly heavy use, you probably will be able to get through a whole day. With light use, you could probably get through a day and a half. Battery life is good on the iPhone 5. Call quality is nice. The speaker is nice and clear. Calls come in really nicely. It does use the dual antenna technology that was on the 4S, and I really haven't had many dropped calls or any at all. Alright, let me show you guys Maps. So Maps has gotten a lot of criticism from blogs and even some big sites like Yahoo and CNN. So these maps is Apple's own in-house mapping system. So gone is Google Maps. You have Apple Maps, or iOS Maps is what most people are calling it. I haven't had that much problems. I mean, it's a work in progress, and it will get better once more people are using it, because it is cloud-based mapping. But it's nowhere near as good as Google Maps. You don't get Street View. When you zoom into buildings, you don't get as many details as you would with an Android phone. But you do get really cool things like 3D. So if I turn on satellite, this would be the standard 2D mode. And if I do zoom in to like the buildings, I can turn on 3D. And it does have a really cool effect. It's not something I'd use every day, but it is nice to show off and for our family, or just looking at the city. But overall, I haven't had many problems. The turn-by-turn navigation works really well. But as for finding specific places on maps, you might run into a few issues because there isn't as much data compared to Google Maps. Alright guys, this has been my full review of the all-new Apple iPhone 5. So now you're probably asking, should I get the iPhone 5? If you're coming from an iPhone 3G, 3GS, or even iPhone 4, and you do like iOS and you don't mind the operating system, then stick with it, because the iPhone 5 is definitely a nice improvement. You get the bigger screen, you get 4G LTE, you get a nice, beautiful phone, thin and light, and a great phone with performance and battery life. The camera is really well. If you're bored of iOS and you're expecting the iPhone 5 to change that, as far as the operating system, then you might want to check out other phones like the Galaxy S3 or even the HTC One X, because Android does give you a few more options and features as far as customization. But iPhone 5, definitely a nice solid update. There are a few issues that Apple does need to address with their maps, and overall I think the keyboard that has been bothering me for a little bit, but overall I believe that Apple will come through and update some of the issues people are having and keep it a great phone. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of the new Apple iPhone 5. Thank you. We'll see you next time.